And author Hilary Mantel has raised a few eyebrows by suggesting that women should have their children earlier in life. She says the expectations of society mean that women currently feel obliged to delay their maternal instincts. She says, I was perfectly capable of setting up and running a home when I was 14, and if, say, it had been ordered differently, I might have thought now is the time to have a couple of children, and when I'm 30, I'll get my PhD. But society isn't ordered that way. Now, we should point out that she's not actually advocating that 14 is the best age to have a baby. I have to say that in her defence. But as more women are delaying motherhood, should we be encouraging women to have babies when they're younger? It's an interesting one, isn't it? When you
well, I think women's the operative word.
Yeah.
Girl is 14, and we've already got the highest rate of teenage pregnancies in Europe, so I think we're winning that one hands down. I think we've gone the other way as these things happen. Personally, I think if she thinks she could run a house at 14, she's talking out of her head, really. I mean, I really don't think anybody is... And I think a lot of young, very young women emotionally use children as, you know, they love me. It's like a doll, almost, you know? And I would say that's... I think teenage is too early, personally. On the other hand, I think 60 is too old, you know. But I certainly felt 30. In your 30s, I was ready to have my children. I had enough energy to have children, and I enjoyed having my children. You know, but it's easy to talk about it in retrospect, isn't it?
I see what you're saying about the 14-year-old girl is probably too young to have a child. She's not really... I think what she's saying is that women are leaving it later in life because of our careers. We're almost encouraged at school, aren't we? You know, get out there, you can be anything you want to be, do anything you want to do. And I have to say, personally, I didn't have Jack till I was 42. That wasn't by choice. That was because I hadn't met the right man. It just wasn't the right time in my life. And I was kind of often labelled this career woman, or she hasn't got kids because she's a career woman, which was not the case at all. And actually, if I'd have chosen an age, if I could choose an age to have children, it would have been in my early 30s. Yeah. And I found myself now, when I meet young women around that age, who saying, we're thinking of maybe... I say, do it. I'm encouraging them, saying, do it. Don't leave it till you're 40. Because I sometimes feel too old.
Say that, I mean, I agree with you, because I had Beau when I was 35, and I don't think we can have it all. And I did work hard and then put babies on the back burner for a while, and I wanted more children, and actually, biological clock determined that I couldn't. But I have to say, I mean, in defence of younger women, I've got a mate who had a child when she was 16, and she's a phenomenal parent. She was a phenomenal parent then, she is now. She's now in her 20s, and her son is a really well-balanced child. She's less flappy than I am. When I had
on her own, though, Lisa?
Yeah, she was on her own. She was a single
parent.
No
help from her parents?
Well, yeah, of course she had help from her parents. I mean, everybody, you have to rely on the resources that you have, and whether it's a parent or a friend or somebody, you know, you can get people to rally for you. But I have to say, in her personality and her maturity, it was all there. And me, I was 35, I had Beau, I was like those helicopter parents they talk about, flapping over the kid, going, do you want this? What, can I get you that? Oh, she's breathing funny, she's looking funny. You know, I was like, I wasn't calm, even though I was a much older parent. So I do think it depends on the individual.
But it depends on the circumstances as well, doesn't it? I mean, I had Keely at 33, and I was the breadwinner, so I had to work and earn. I couldn't have any more because I had to... You know, there's nothing I could have done. But I do think... I mean, Keely had Oliver when she was 21, and she is fit and well, and she's got the energy, do you know what I mean? And when I was 33, I thought that was quite old to have a baby at 33. And I would have liked another one when I was 35, and I kept thinking, oh, this is old now. And it isn't now, funnily enough, is it? 40 isn't old now.
But I don't think it's wrong. I think what she's saying, and I think I personally actually advocate, definitely, that young women, but young men as well, if you keep saying to women, it's your right to do this and you have your babies now, where are the boys in this, you know? There's so many children with no fathers.
In an
We've
ideal
created
world,
a whole society.
Two parents are best.
Well,
I think
Lisa, we're actually encouraging... We keep talking to women without the men. Go on, darling, you have a baby.
No, we're not encouraging single parents. We're encouraging women when they're in their baby-making prime to go for it, because actually, when you have a child, like I did when I was 35 and Ruth, you were 42, it's the most amazing thing. And I wish I'd found that out sooner.
Yes, mum, I think was your mum a single
My mum was a single parent. She was in her 20s when she had me, and which isn't too young to have a baby, but she struggled. She really did struggle.
But I think again, what she's saying is we mustn't get too bogged down in that 14-year-old girl pregnancy. We all know there's a huge teenage pregnancy problem, but I think what she's saying is, you know, don't just assume you can have it all. Don't assume you can leave it till you're 35 and choose and go, I know, I'll 35, I'll have a baby now, because it might not happen.
And I think it would be lovely if young women were encouraged to have children, have families, and be a mother and have a family. That's
Before
wonderful.
it's all dried up, dear.
When you're you know,
yeah, they should talk about families more than just it's great for a woman to have a baby.
Yes.
They should talk about let's be a family first.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I agree with you. Talk to boys as well. Why is it always us? It's always down to us, isn't it? Anyway, this is